By the end of today, you will have taken somewhere around 20,000 breaths. That's not a poetic number. It's roughly what an adult human does in a day, every day, for an entire life. 20,000 times, air in, air out. And here's the question this whole video hangs on. How many of those 20,000 did you actually notice? For most people, the honest answer is 0. The one rhythm that has sustained you through every single moment of your existence runs completely below your attention. While you answer emails, navigate conversations, scroll, worry, plan. And meanwhile, we go looking for calm in complicated places. The right book, the perfect retreat, the philosophy that will finally settle things. What almost nobody checks is whether the most practical tool for steadiness was running quietly in the background the entire time. In the next 15 minutes, what actually happens in your body when you take one deliberate breath, the myth that ruins most people's practice before it begins, and I'd bet money it's already frustrated you, and a simple rhythm you can use silently, anywhere, starting today. No mysticism required. No empty mind required either. And that second part might be the most liberating thing you hear all week. Let's start with what a single conscious breath actually does, and to see it, you only need to look at your own body under an ordinary day. Modern life runs on low-grade alarm, the notification, the deadline, the traffic. None of it is a real emergency, but your body doesn't file paperwork on that distinction. Each little stressor nudges your system toward readiness, toward defense. And one of the first places that shows up is the breath. Under stress, breathing goes shallow, quick, and high in the chest. You can verify this in yourself. Think of the last genuinely tense moment of your week and where the air was moving. Up top, short, maybe half-held. That's the body preparing for an emergency, useful for escaping actual danger, corrosive when it runs from 9 to 5. Because shallow, high breathing all day long is your body being told, over and over, in its own language, we are not safe. And a body that hears that all day carries tension it never gets to put down. In the shoulders, the jaw, the stomach, the sleep. Here's the part that changes everything. The message runs both ways. The breath doesn't just report your state, it can send instructions back. When you deliberately slow the breath down, when you let it drop lower into the body and lengthen, you're speaking to the same system in the same language, and the message reverses. The emergency is over. You can stand down. The body listens. Heart rate eases. The grip loosens. The system shifts from bracing towards settling. This isn't a supernatural claim, and it doesn't need one. It's your own physiology. And it's the reason one slow, low breath before a difficult moment isn't a cute ritual. It's a real lever. So check right now, because this video should be practiced, not just watched. How are you breathing at this moment? Is your stomach tight? Is the air stopping high in your chest? When today did you take one fully unhurried breath? If the answer is not yet, good. You're about to. But before the how, we have to clear the single biggest obstacle on this path. Because most people who try a breathing or mindfulness practice quit within a week. And they quit for the same reason, and the reason is a myth. Here's how it goes. You decide to try. You sit down, close your eyes, take a breath. And within seconds, your mind floods. The unpaid bill. The awkward thing you said on Tuesday. What to make for dinner. A song fragment. The bill again. And a verdict arrives, quiet and certain. I'm doing this wrong. I can't clear my mind. This isn't for me. And there it is. The myth, doing its work. The widespread, practice-killing belief that inner calm requires an empty mind, a state of perfect, thought-free silence, and that thoughts appearing means you're failing. Let me say this as plainly as I can. The goal was never to delete your thoughts. The mind is designed to think the way the heart is designed to beat. Sitting down and demanding that your mind produce silence is like standing at a river and demanding that it stop flowing. You don't get stillness, you get a fight, And the fight is exhausting, and losing it daily convinces you that you're uniquely bad at something no human being can do. Nobody has an empty mind. Not the monk, not the teacher in the video, not anyone. What experienced practitioners have isn't a silent river. It's a different seat. Picture it exactly like that. A river, and you on the bank. The water is your thinking, and it flows because that's what rivers do. Most of the day, you're not on the bank. You're in the water, swept along by every current. The worry carries you, the replay carries you, and you don't even notice you're wet. The breath is how you climb out and sit down on the bank. The river doesn't stop. You can still see every thought go by. The bill, the dinner, the song. But watching the current and drowning in it are two different lives. And now the part that reframes everything, the actual mechanics of the practice, the thing the myth hides. You sit, you find the breath, and within moments the mind pulls you into the water. That's not the practice failing. Then comes a moment, small, quiet, easy to miss, where you notice you've been pulled away, and you come back to the breath gently, without the lecture. That moment, the noticing and the return, that is the practice. Not the staying, the returning. So run the math on a session where your mind wandered 50 times in 5 minutes. The myth scores it, failed 50 times. The truth scores it, practiced 50 times. 50 repetitions of the exact skill you sat down to build. The wandering isn't the interruption of the training. The wandering is what makes the training possible. Can you let a thought exist without judging yourself for having it? If yes, you can do this practice. That's the entire entry requirement. Now the body. Because there's one more thing modern life quietly broke, and fixing it takes 2 minutes. Most of us have forgotten how to physically take a deep breath. Watch what happens when someone is told to breathe deeply. Shoulders rise toward the ears, chest puffs up and out, stomach sucks in. It looks impressive, and it's exactly backwards. That's vertical breathing, and it recruits the same pattern as gasping, the same upward, effortful grab for air that panic uses. A deep breath that mimics panic is not going to calm anybody. A natural, grounding breath doesn't move up. It moves down and out. Try this with me right now. This is the diagnostic, and it's worth pausing the video for. One hand flat on your chest, the other hand resting soft on your stomach, just below the ribs. Now breathe normally and just watch the hands. Which one moves? If it's the top hand, the chest hand, you're breathing vertically and you're in the majority and nothing is wrong with you. It's what desks and screens and held-in stomachs train into a body over years. Here's the retraining, and it's less about effort than permission. Let the stomach soften. Actually soften. Most people are holding it without knowing. Then, on the inhale, imagine the air traveling low, filling downward, and let the bottom hand ride gently outward as it does. The top hand stays almost still. On the exhale, the bottom hand floats back in. That's it. Down and out on the inhale, soft release on the exhale. A quiet horizontal swell, no force, no maximum capacity, no performance. You're not stretching the lungs. You're letting the breath take the room it was always built to use. Done this way, a breath doesn't add tension to the body. It sets tension down. And now the rhythm, the practice you leave this video with. One honest note first. The internet is full of intense breathing techniques, fast styles, long holds, dramatic promises. Some have real uses in their proper contexts, and they also carry real cautions, dizziness, strain, and for some people worse. None of that is needed for daily grounding, and if you have medical or psychological concerns, keep everything gentle and consider guidance from a qualified professional. For building calm into an ordinary life, a simple rhythm done consistently beats an extreme technique done occasionally. It isn't even close. The rhythm is called equal breathing, and the entire instruction fits in one line. In through the nose for a slow count of 4, out through the nose for a slow count of 4. Let's do a few rounds together right now. Settle your posture. Soften the stomach. You know how now. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 2, 3, 4. Again. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. Keep it smooth, quiet, unforced. A continuous circle of air, nothing anyone beside you would ever notice. And check honestly. 3 cycles in. Has anything in your body shifted? Even slightly. Shoulders, jaw, the speed behind your eyes. That invisibility is the whole superpower. This practice needs no cushion, no app, no closed door. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. On the train, in the grocery line, in the parking lot before you walk into work. In the hallway before a hard conversation. And that last one matters most, because a calming practice only counts if it survives contact with your actual life. It's easy to be serene alone in a quiet room. The test is the moment the email lands wrong or the conversation turns. Here's the piece to carry. Between what happens to you and what you do about it, there is a gap. Most of the time we never feel it. The trigger and the reaction arrive welded together. One slow, low breath, taken on purpose, opens that gap just wide enough to choose your response instead of being fired out of a cannon by it. Before you answer, before you speak, before you turn the key in the front door after a long day, one breath, low and slow. That single breath is the practice graduating from a quiet room into a life. So, the whole video in one line. Calm was never about emptying the mind or escaping the world. It's about noticing the rhythm you already own, a few more of those 20,000 breaths today than yesterday, and letting it remind your body as often as needed that the emergency is over. Start absurdly small. 1 moment today. Soften the stomach, drop the shoulders, 1 conscious breath. That's the entire assignment. And tell me in the comments. I read them, and this question deserves real answers. What does inner calm actually mean to you in this particular season of your life? Not the postcard version, yours. Someone in these comments is going to read your answer and feel less alone in theirs. If this way of exploring things speaks to you, grounded, honest, no magic promises, that's what this channel is built on. Subscribe and breathe well.